Have you ever considered moving from your home country to a brand new country altogether? Well, on today's episode of Phenomenal Motherhood, I have a lady who's South African who relocated just before COVID in 2020 to a different country altogether, not alone, but with her daughter. My name is Sarame and welcome to Phenomenal Motherhood, where we're going to unpack and just discuss how life has been or is for her living in a different country, raising her daughter. This is Phenomenal Motherhood, where we discover, discuss, debunk, and celebrate motherhood. Welcome, Bertha. Welcome to Phenomenal Motherhood. It's so good to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. And thank you for having me. And how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. So, before we get into the gist of you getting to Canada, I know you, but our viewers, obviously, most of them don't know you. So I want you to, tell us who is Bertha Moaka.
Okay, first of all, I am a child of God, like a daughter of the Most High King. And then I
Amen.
am a mom. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
have my manchi, my bundle of joy. And then I am a sister. I am a friend. I
Mm-hmm.
am and then over and above it all, I am a woman, a woman who wants to do well, a woman who wants to get
Yeah.
ahead,
Mm.
someone who has great aspirations. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I stand on the giants of shoulders. I mean, on the shoulders of giants.
Mm.
When I look back at how far my mother went and everything, like I
Mm.
just want to go even beyond that. So that's basically who I
Mm.
am. Someone who just wants to do better for the next generation, So that's who
Wow.
Bertha is. Yeah.
Wow, that's very profound. Doing better for the next generation. I'm sure our viewers are very curious to know your childhood. How did you grow up? How was it like growing up for you?
Okay, my childhood was not indifferent to like any other person, like especially growing up in South Africa. I mean,
Yeah.
just a little bit of background. My mom was from Zim and my dad South
Mm-hmm.
African, but I grew up on my dad's side of the family. So
Mm-hmm.
I grew up around a lot of cousins,
Mm-hmm.
grandmothers, aunts, uncles, and so I always say, even though I didn't have like an immediate brother or sister, it never felt that
Mm.
way because you're constantly surrounded by a lot
Yes.
of cousins who eventually become like your siblings. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
would say I had a typical upbringing of any African child, honestly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and just for context as well, for people that are watching that don't know you, when you say your dad was, your mom and dad did pass away, right? For the viewers, your
Yes,
parents passed away when you were in primary school, right?
yes. In 1997, when I was just 11. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna go into that today. It's all about motherhood in Canada, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, before you moved to Canada, tell us how, your life was before actually making the decision to relocate to Canada.
Well, you are someone who was close to me in South Africa, and I can say
Mm,
that I was okay. I had a very
mm,
comfortable life in South Africa.
mm,
I mean, I was a typical professional, doing well for herself, well
mm.
established.
Yes.
You are able to acquire so many things like property, investments, and so forth. But the one question that constantly struck me was, okay, I've been able to be okay, like to establish myself and to do well for myself.
Mm.
But in 20 years' time, will my daughter be able to do this for herself here in South Africa?
Wow.
And I could not honestly answer that question. Like even everything that was happening. And remember, this was even before the pandemic, you know.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
yeah. And I just felt like, I'm not saying like things will not turn around and it will be great again and so forth. Of course, the
Mm,
chance of
mm.
turning around is there. But then I was like, you know what? I'm working with what I have right now. And
Yes, yes.
perhaps my best option is to just get her outside of the country. I would say, like,
Mm.
the desire to leave South Africa has always been there, but
Mm-hmm.
the biggest push was like having a child, you know? Like, once I had a
Mm.
child, like, I felt like I have to at least make sure that she gets educated in a different place than what I was in. Because I mean, the South
Mm-hmm.
Africa that I grew up in is no longer the South Africa that is there now, you know. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even have to tell you some of the things that are happening. I don't want
True.
to really go into that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And which year did you relocate?
We actually just had our 2-year anniversary on in January.
Anniversary, you say?
Yes, anniversary. Like that's how much that's our anniversary in Canada. So we
Yeah,
actually just relocated in January in 2020.
20. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So like last month actually we celebrated 2 years in Canada.
Wow. Wow. And you do also explain that you relocated to Canada because obviously you wanted a better quality life for your daughter because the South Africa that we grew up in, it's not the same as we are living in currently, right?
Absolutely.
Why did you decide to move to Canada? Was it because there was better opportunities there? Why not Europe? Why not the States, the USA, for example?
You
Why
know what?
Canada?
Okay, to be honest with you, initially when I started doing research, it was always like New Zealand and so forth because I thought New Zealand would be easy to go to. But you know, when you
Mm,
are trying to immigrate, you don't typically just look at one country. Well, okay, that has been
yes.
my experience anyway. Like even other
Okay.
people that I've spoken to, like you will look
Mm,
at maybe 2 or 3 countries, you know, and then do
mm,
research from a financial
yes.
standpoint, from a
Mm,
requirements standpoint, and then see what will work for you, you know. So for me, it was
mm.
initially always, what do you call this country, always New Zealand. We even attended
Okay.
like a session, an information session is somewhere in Midrand at a hotel where they were like, you know, trying to get people basically to move to New Zealand. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
then one day I'll never forget this. Like, okay, then Canada was also on the cards, but everything was like moving towards New Zealand. Then one day
Mm-hmm.
we went out for pizza, myself and Mr. T went out
Mm-hmm.
for pizza at an outdoor pizza place in Irene Village Mall with Shami. I think Shami was just like 8 months old or something. She was a baby. Then a maple leaf fell onto the table, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the gentleman who was waiting on our table, he came and he picked up the leaf and he said to me, "Are you going to Canada?" And
Wow.
you know, that was like, okay, if I was looking for a sign, if I was waiting for a sign, this is
This is
it.
it.
Yeah, and from there I just started the process for Canada. I just like started gathering information and so forth, and everything just happened like one after the next. And before you know it, come January 2020, we were here. Honestly, it was like a
Wow.
very
Wow.
quick process, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, how complicated is the application process? Just a brief, explanation of how it is, and also like tips that you'd like to give to someone that is currently on the process of starting to apply for, a PR to Canada.
Okay, so there are lots of different ways, lots of different streams that you can follow
Mm-hmm.
in order to move to Canada. I think the
Mm-hmm.
critical thing is just knowing which one works for you. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I use the Federal Skilled Workers Program, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went into the express entry pool using that.
Okay.
So, I personally, okay, the only thing that I did for myself was to connect with immigration agents just to for them to do that initial assessment and to hear like what they were saying, you know. And I
Mm-hmm.
could kind of see how they were over eager to oh, I can even give you a discount to assist you with this. And then I thought, this is probably going to be easy money for them. That's why they're so eager.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
then I figured that, you know what, I can probably do this myself.
Mm-hmm.
So meeting up with them was valuable in the sense of I got a lot of information from them. But then, having said that again, this is information I could have just found on the Government of Canada website as well, you know?
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So I honestly feel like anyone can do it by themselves. Like you don't need to
Mm-hmm.
use an agent unless, of course, you have a especially complicated case or you have
Mm-hmm.
different some type of situation, you know, that
Okay.
you feel like, okay, I need someone else to help me do it. I think anyone can do it on their own. I mean, I did it with, I mean, I moved over with just my 3-year-old daughter. She was 3 back then. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you can absolutely do it. I mean, the only thing is read, 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 read. And once you have
Yes.
read, 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 read some more. Like, no, it's a lot of information. It's a lot to
Yes.
absorb. It's a lot
I
to
can
make.
imagine.
Yeah, it's a
Mm.
lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Mm.
So I would say, like, I mean, you just need to read all that information, process it, understand it, and then move ahead.
Mm.
Yeah. But honestly, it's not a process that, it's not something that anyone cannot do. Anyone who puts their
Mm.
mind to it, they can definitely do it. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned that it's a federal skill program, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the moment you mention skill, that means not everybody can use that channel, right? What are the top three things that you need to qualify for it?
Typically, in terms of immigration, you have the best terms before you turn 30. Once you
Okay.
turn 30, it starts working against you, you know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I would say if you are wanting to do it and you are approaching 30 or you've just turned 30, the time to start is now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would say, okay, I would say it's education, money, language ability, work experience. Yeah. Okay, I know you
Mm.
say three, but I think those are the main things. Yeah, they look at.
Okay.
Mm.
Now, I want to also understand that you have family in South Africa. How did they receive the news of you relocating to another country? I mean, you have friends as well. How was that for them? And how was it telling them that, guys, I'm leaving?
To be honest with you, it was all quite hush hush. I think you will remember that it was all
Mm.
pretty much under wraps. No, you
Mm.
know what? Given that there have been some how can I put it? Some challenges from a family perspective. You know, there's always family dynamics and so forth.
Yes, yes.
So
Mm.
this was something that I chose to not really call like a huge gathering and be like, guys, I'm
Mm.
leaving. No, no, no. I did, of course, tell some of my close cousins. I think you remember
Yes,
Sani knew that we were leaving. So
yes.
she was very happy for me, although she was still, you know, like, are you sure about this? I think she didn't think I would leave, actually. I don't think she thought I was serious.
Yes.
I think she thought I was joking up until, like, it actually happened, you know.
Happened.
So, yeah, so I would say that with friends it was also like, okay, I did tell a few friends. I think they were also like quite shocked, like, what are you on about, you know. To be
Mm.
honest, I feel like a lot of people only started taking me seriously once I had left and I was this side. I think initially they just thought,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know, they thought I was joking or something when I'm saying, guys, I'm going to I'm moving. Yeah,
Because
so I mean,
also it's such a big move, especially because like on this side of Africa in South Africa, not a lot of us actually relocate out of South Africa, you know. So when someone says I'm relocating, it's just like, are you sure?
yeah, I think it was more from a place of shock when you tell people that you're leaving,
Yes,
they
yes,
don't believe you.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Now I'm curious. You traveled with my baby niece, and she was 3 years old, right? I want to
yeah,
understand how was it traveling? How many hours is it? 21 hours, right?
yeah, yeah. No, it's such a lengthy flight. Yeah, 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 yeah.
How was it just traveling with a 3-year-old?
You know what? To be honest with you, I think I can say it was only the hand of God, because
Mm,
I was so nervous. I was
right.
and like when you don't know what to expect, when you don't know what's going,
Yes.
and like from, well, I am someone who has traveled quite a bit before moving to Canada. And you know
Mm,
how, like, on a plane, there's always that woman with that noisy child and so forth, and everyone is
yes.
kind of like, oh. So I was like, oh Lord, don't let that be me.
Oh.
So we flew from South Africa to Abu Dhabi, and I think that was about 8 hours. And then our
Mm-hmm.
stopover was not too lengthy. It was about, I think, 4 or 5 hours. So what we did is that in that
Oh.
4 or 5 hours, we went to like the bathrooms, and then we actually showered, brushed up,
Mm-hmm.
and then changed into other clothes, because remember we were coming from South Africa and it was summer there. And then
Yes.
obviously we
Yes.
couldn't have worn like thermal clothing from South Africa all the way to Canada.
Yes.
So then when we got to Abu Dhabi, that's when we changed into our thermals, and then wore like warmer stuff, and then we got ready.
Mm.
By the time we were done with like showering and so forth, it was actually time to get onto the next flight to come to Canada, and that was 13 hours. But I have to
Wow.
say, you know what? I was literally blown away by how well Shami just handled the whole thing. I guess,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what it was, but she was just there. Like, she would just sleep and wake up and play and then talk.
Mm.
And it was
Mm-hmm.
just, I guess it was, I don't know, maybe it was like a fun experience for her. I don't know. Or she
Yeah,
was
I think
just,
it was.
or perhaps she was also just wondering, where are we going, that
What's
kind of thing.
happening?
Yes, but she didn't. And like, I was so nervous about everything. Oh my gosh, what if
Mm,
she
I
like
can
makes a
imagine,
wee, what if
hey?
she weeds herself, what if she does this, and none of that. Literally, she would
Wow.
just sleep and wake up, and then I would maybe order something for her to drink, like juice or water. But
Mm,
the flight went smooth, 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 smooth. She
wow.
didn't even vomit or anything.
Were you expecting her to vomit?
No, you know how like traveling with kids can just become
Yes,
messy
that's true.
unexpectedly.
That's
Honestly,
true, hey?
it can just be messy. Like sometimes they eat
Mm,
something, it upsets their tummy, and then yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I want to know, when you arrived in Canada, how was it? Like, how was it? First impressions when you just land into Canada? Actually, maybe the first couple of days. What was your first impressions of Canada? What was it? What you expected?
My first impression was like, this place is cold.
I can
Because
imagine
remember
because you
we came
arrived in
from
winter.
because remember we
Mm,
came from South Africa where it was like 35 degrees, and then you come this side,
yes,
it's like maybe -10, -15.
my
So
goodness.
it was cold. And the thing is, we didn't have like any like proper winter gear, because I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you now, nothing you buy in South Africa will serve you here in
Are
the
you
Canadian winter.
serious?
Even if you bought it from Cape Union Mart and it was like 3,000,
Mm,
no, my sister,
mm.
it's not going to work.
But it makes sense because why would they sell, like warm clothes here in South Africa? Because we don't need it.
Yeah, so anyway, our also we're staying at an Airbnb, and then our landlady's dad took us to the Walmart and then to buy like shoes, and like I was telling a friend that in as much as it's so cold here, everything is built for the cold, man. Like you have
Yeah.
everything is waterproof, like your shoes are waterproof,
Mm,
coats, accessories and stuff. It's not like in South
mm,
Africa, like even the houses here, there's a heating. So like right now, I mean, it's like minus, I don't know, maybe -8 or minus whatever outside, but I'm just really wearing a sweater and a shirt because
mm,
there's
mm.
heating inside the house.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. And when you arrived in Canada, did you have any friends? Did you know people in Canada? Did you know anyone? Did you have family,
Not at
relatives?
all, not at all. Oh, relatives,
Wow,
not at
wow.
all. Like when we arrived in Canada, we didn't know anyone, and but there's a group of South Africans living
Mm-hmm,
in Canada, and I actually sent a message. Oh, from the person who picked us from the airport, actually, was
mm-hmm.
from that group, and he came to pick
Oh,
us up. Oh, I sent a message to the group, to the WhatsApp, the Facebook group for South Africans to say, hi, I am in this area. Are there any people that would like to connect and so forth? And then for the longest time, I didn't hear anything back. Then one day, someone sent me a message. Then when I checked, I saw that, oh my gosh, those a lot of people had replied back then, but for some reason, I didn't even see the
Didn't.
messages.
Oh,
Yes, a
wow.
lot of people had actually replied, and then one was these two ladies. They were like, "Where are you?" Then when I gave them my address, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're like 1 kilometer away from us." We went out, and then we had lunch at Nando's. Then another lady still. I went out with her, and then we had coffee, and we are still. I'm still in touch with them. So I just found like the warmth shown
Family.
by my fellow South Africans so overwhelming.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Now, my next question is for my little baby niece. When you arrived in Canada, obviously she was in creche this side, right? She was in uh, preschool, right? So how is it now having to apply application process for her in Canada? How difficult is it? Is it easy for her to get to school? Yeah, how's the educational system as well as compared to South Africa? And I know it's a bit unfair to compare the educational system, but yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, so from an educational perspective, I would say hands down, like there's no comparison between South
Okay.
Africa and Canada. Like I'm not even like throwing any
Yeah,
shade on South
no.
Africa or anything. Like um, I mean, Canada is one of the most populated, I mean, not populated, one of the most educated nations in the world. And I'm not even saying this right from like, from just with children going to school. I mean it like even professionally, you know, any person you
Mm.
bump into in your line of work, they are bound to have at least 2 master's degrees, you know. So
Wow.
your girl is under pressure.
Pressure, pressure.
Okay, that's just to tell you like how education is a big deal this side. And then
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that I am finding is that I feel like they are more faster paced. Well,
Mm-hmm.
also I stand corrected because remember when I left South Africa, Shamiso was just 3, right?
Mm.
And
Mm.
now I cannot say I don't have like an experience with like the education system with taking my child through it in South Africa.
Oh, yes. No, I get.
And I realized that there's an expectation that when you put your 4-year-old into school, they should at least know how to write their names, how to write their last name, how to do this and count to 10 and all those things, you know. And
Mm.
then yeah, I would say the system is a bit, I would say a bit faster than back in South Africa. And
South Africa,
this,
yeah.
by the way, is just public schools, you know. These were
Yes.
not even like you know, high-end schools or anything. Just with, and the thing is, even if you everyone actually from South Africa puts their children in the public school system, it's okay. They are
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And is it only because it's free or because it is free for government schools are free, right? Public schools that side.
Yes, public schools are tax funded, so that means that the people's taxes are what pay for it. Same as the healthcare is also tax funded. So
Wow.
people don't necessarily put their children in public schools because it's free, but it's actually that good. It's actually good because
Wow. Wow.
they like when I say that, like I mean even people with like good professions and so forth, their children go to the public schools, and it's more
Wow.
about like this school is within your area, and that's the area where you put your child in school. No, the public school system is very good.
Wow. Wow. Okay, now, Bertha, I want to know about the language, right? I mean, when you were here in South Africa, you used to speak Sesotho, right, with Shami, or
Mm.
Sepedi with Shami. And do you still speak Sesotho and Sepedi to her? Does she still understand? Because she used to speak when she was this side. Can she still
Yes.
understand? Is it important for you to teach her to still instill in her, you know, our languages, where she comes from, you know, is that important for you?
Most definitely. Like, it's a pity that she refuses to speak Sutu, but she does understand. She does understand
Yes.
because I only speak to her in Susutu. Of course, there are times when I will talk to her in English, but mostly I talk to her in Sutu. And
Mm-hmm.
it really saddens me that she doesn't want to speak Sutu anymore. Like it's heartbreaking for me because I mean
Mm-hmm.
I still am an African person, you know. And the thing
Yes.
is, when we move into diaspora, like you already lose so many things, you know. So your
Mm-hmm.
language is also part of your identity, and I personally feel like if you can at least hold on to it. But if you can't, it's also understandable. I mean, I have a lot of Afrikaans friends whose
Mm.
children cannot speak Afrikaans simply
Yeah.
because from it's not possible to like to just maintain, because apart from you, who else do they speak that language with, you know?
Mm.
So for me, yeah,
True.
it is important, but I mean, if she doesn't hold on to it, if she loses it, it's okay. It's also okay. Like there's nothing that I can do. I have really tried my best, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and how does your typical day look like in Canada and you don't have a nanny and you are a 9 to 5 working mom? How does
Mm.
your day typically look like from morning until you
Oh
go
my
to
gosh.
bed?
Like I'm just yeah, like going like it's just so busy. Honestly, it's just so busy. I mean, I get
Mm,
up in the morning and then I shower,
mm,
and then after that I wake Shami up, give her a bath, and then while she eats breakfast I make my bed and then I get dressed. And then when she's done, we get ready, and then I go drop her off at school, and then I come home, and then I start my meetings and everything from 9. And then at 3 p.m., I have to go and pick her up from school because she doesn't go into after school care. She comes home at 3.
o-
Yeah, because
okay.
most parents
And you still
actually have.
working from home?
Yes, yes,
Yeah?
yes. I work from home. Most parents have before and after school care. I don't have
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
I pick her up from 3, and then when I get home at 3:30, I still just log on for 1.5 hours, and then at 5 I'm done. Then depending on what's happening, maybe we'll read a book or do like an exercise, like a home learning
Mm,
exercise, or I'll cook, or we'll go to the shops. Like there's always something happening, you know.
yeah,
So like yeah, I mean being a mom is
a lot.
yeah, it's a lot, you know. Then on weekends, Saturdays, some Saturdays we are just at home. Other
Mm-hmm.
Saturdays it's like kiddies parties. Like yesterday actually we went to a party, and it's like a friend of mine whose daughter's birthday it was. So and then Sundays are for church, and now I've decided to start hosting people over for lunch not every
Yeah.
Sunday, but once in a while have people. So earlier on, remember we were cut off, and then I told you that there was a phone call or
Yes.
something. It was
Mm.
actually a gentleman from church who is coming for lunch. So he was calling me to confirm if we are still on for Sunday. So I
Okay.
had to take his call, and then I was telling him that yeah, most definitely we are still on. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah, as a mom, you're so busy, right?
Never rests. Okay, before you answer my next question,
Mhm.
I want to play my viewers a video you sent to me, and after it was just so beautiful to watch. It was a video where I think what's the name? I think it was a lake or a river, and
Lake
because
Ontario.
now it's yes, now that because it's winter, it's so cold, it's frozen, and you guys were actually like walking on top of the lake. So I want to play the video right now, and then we'll move on to the next question.
Okay.
Okay, so one of my favorite things, or like one of the things I'm really liking about Canada is that, as you see me standing here, this is we are standing on Lake Ontario, it has frozen over completely. Well, not the entire lake, but like the part close to our house. So we live not far from here. It was like just a short walk to get here. And as you can see, there are lots of other people with their dogs and their children just walking on water. Well, frozen water. But yeah, okay, actually a friend of mine advised me to not do this because she was like, no, don't, blah blah blah. But then I mean, how how bad can it be anyway? So we just gone for, and as you can see, there's Bundle of Joy right there in the back having fun.
Okay, my next question is, what else do you do for fun for kids in Canada?
Oh my gosh.
You know, like here we'd go to the zoo, we'd go to the amusement park,
Okay,
and so forth.
right now, because it's winter, it's mostly winter stuff, you know. And I
Mm-hmm.
have to tell you, I struggled so much to find a sled, like to find her a sled for school, because they have a sledding hill at the school as well. So
Oh,
this is
nice.
like a little thing that they hold on to, and then they put them on the snow, and then they go down. So I
Uh,
finally found one. But then there are a lot of winter outdoor activities that you can do, even like tobogganing, which she always tells
mhm.
me, Mommy, let's go tobogganing. But I mean, I'm African, right? Tobogganing for what?
For who?
You know, yeah. But anyway, like I do try to, even if it's just like, even if it's just going out for a walk, especially because right now the tendency is that you just want to stay indoors because it's so cold. But I mean, it's
Yes.
obviously not encouraged, you know. So I would
Mm-mm.
say for me, I try to. Oh, and on Friday night we actually went out. You know, like there are just so many things that you can do. Although right now it has been a bit difficult because of the pandemic as well. So
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of things had like restrictions, lots of queues and pre-booking and so forth. So there's quite a bit of, in terms of like outdoor things that you can do with the children, you know, like
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, we're almost at the end of our interview, but I need to ask you this question. Do you ever regret leaving South Africa? You don't. Do you see?
No.
So, do you think you'd ever come back to South Africa?
Well, I would never say never, because I mean, uh, Africa or South Africa is, I mean, it's an awesome place. It's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful place. It has so much to offer. I would never
Mm-hmm.
say I'll never come back to South Africa, just not in the immediate future, you know?
Okay. All right. Fair answer. Now, if there's a mother that's currently watching at the moment and they are in South Africa and they want to relocate, or a family, they want to relocate to Canada, what are the top 5 tips that you would give to them or advice that you'd give to them? Would you advise them to relocate?
Yes, I would. But
Mm-hmm.
okay, before I tell you, I have to tell you that immigration is hard.
Mm,
And I say this not in a way to like to discourage anyone, but immigration is very hard. So
mm,
what I'm trying to say is, if you are going to do it, you have to know the reasons why you want to do it, you know,
mm,
because if you don't have that worked out, you will get to a point where you are like, why am I even doing this? Because
mm,
some days it's going to be so hard, and then you're going to be like, you know what, let me just go back. Because I have heard of people who come, especially from South Africa, and then you find that maybe a year or two later, they head back to South Africa. Oh no, because I couldn't get a helper, I couldn't get stuff like this. And so, and then you're like, really? You know? So immigration is
yeah.
very hard, and you need to know your reasons why you are doing it, because
Mm,
when the going gets tough, you are going to have to remember, why am I doing this again, you know?
yeah.
So if your reasons are not serious ones at the first challenge, and trust me, you will encounter many challenges. You will encounter
Wow.
challenges. And
Mm,
so if you don't have solid reasons for coming at the first challenge, you just be like, you know what, let me just go back to South Africa. Okay, so having said that, I would say I would definitely recommend immigration for anyone. It's just that like the first 2 years are actually very hard because imagine you've just uprooted your entire life. You are trying to settle in a new country.
True.
You are trying to like build a new community of friends.
Yeah.
You are trying to break into the corporate world. It's a lot. Honestly speaking, it's a lot, you know. But with each new day that that dawns, it's like you are just getting closer and closer and closer to, you know, to finally like saying, okay, now I can call this place home. Because for me, now I've hit the 2 year mark, and I literally feel like, you know what, I think this place is starting to feel like home. I mean, last year I filed my my taxes. A gentleman helped me to do my taxes. I did my driver's license, and I was like, you know what? I think this is starting to feel like home. I mean, if I'm even doing, if I even have my CRA account and not SARS account anymore, I think I think I'm home. You know.
You're home now.
Yes, yes. So okay. So into the tips that I will be giving, it's the biggest tip that I'll give is that you have to, if you are immigrating, you have to always think of the end goal, you know. You have to always think of the end goal because immigration itself is not glamorous. Like, I know some people do make it look like, oh, it's really not glamorous. And you have to understand that immigration is not really about you. That's the one thing that you have to understand. It's about the next generation. Like for me personally, I was okay. I was settled in South Africa. I had no business in South Africa. But now I'm only doing it so that my next generations would be okay. So you have to kind of accept that you will be that sacrificial lamb, because immigration is so hard for first generation immigrants, you know. Like a lot of people that you meet here in Canada, their grandparents moved here, their great grandparents moved here, their parents moved here. So they are not first generation immigrants, and that kind of like makes it easier for them. But me being, but if you are coming in and you are first generation immigrant, it's going to be so hard for you, and you have it hard. But you must just always remember that it's not really about me. It's about
the next generation. I love that.
Yeah. And then the other thing about immigration is like, be open-minded about it, you know. Like, just when I say open-minded, like, sometimes, you know, we are just fixated on this is how I want to do it or whatever. That can be how you want to do it, but then God can do it in a different way, you know. And also the other thing is that talk to people. I know with us black people, you don't really want to involve a lot of people because blah blah, but I mean, find one or two people that you trust. Go on to, I mean, I'm not even on social media, but because of immigration, I started a Facebook account just so I can get some information, you know. Go on to Facebook, go on to like, read, like, find a blogger or a vlogger or whatever that you like, follow them, get more information, like, educate yourself. You know, with the immigration journey, the best thing you can do for yourself is to just arm yourself with as much knowledge as possible. Understand the process. Like I said at the top of our call, that read, and read. And once you think you understand the information, read, and read some more. Like, you won't go wrong, you know. And then yeah, I think the only other thing about immigration is that you are going to have like some some bad experiences. So the best is just laugh at yourself and move on. Like, okay, one of the worst things that happened to me when I came to Canada, I never even told you. Like, the very first winter that we were here, you know, when okay, you know, like, it snows, and then sometimes the snow melts, but then it freezes again. But when it freezes now, it's no longer snow, it's ice.
Ice, okay.
Yes, and ice is very slippery. One day, your girl was running for the bus. Did I not slip and fall on my back? I was so confused, like, what is happening, you know? The wig went one way, the bag one way, your girl was on her back.
Serious? Did you get hurt? I hope you didn't get hurt.
No, no, no. But apparently, like people do actually get fractured from stuff like
Yeah,
that,
I
and
can imagine.
arms and legs and things from that. Yeah. So all I'm trying to say is that there will be like a lot of things that don't go well. Sometimes you just have to dust yourself up, laugh at yourself, and move on. Like immigration is really not easy. Like I don't even say this in a way of, oh no, don't do it. Yes, you can do
Yeah.
it, but it's really not easy, and you just have to keep moving forward. Yeah.
Wow.
The biggest tip is that you cannot plan exhaustively. Even if you do plan, things will not necessarily go according to your plan. So be
Okay.
flexible. You know what I mean? Yes, like remember at the top of our call, I said there are lots of different streams to come and so forth.
Yeah.
So if, for example, your specific stream that you wanted isn't working out, or for example, you wanted to do a federal program, but then now you can't, you have to do a provincial, just do a provincial and at least get to that province, and then because there are
Okay.
also programs that allow you to come, but only to move to a certain province.
Province.
Yes.
Okay.
So for example, if something like that happens, just proceed. Like I keep on saying, at the end of the day, even if you are not in the greater Toronto area, you are still in Canada. You are
Yeah.
not somewhere in India or wherever you are coming from. So people tend to be like caught up with, oh, this is where I want to go, this is what I want to do, and have these unrealistic timelines as well. No, just
Yeah.
trust the process and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and a lot of immigrants, especially the ones in Africa, they all want to be at GTA.
No, I think the reason with that, I think the main reason is that it's very diverse. It's very, I think I can say immigrant friendly. And
Yes.
I know friends who are coming from outside of Ontario, from Calgary, and they were saying like the lack of diversity is very real, and especially when you have children, it becomes like a real
Oh,
challenge because you would like your child to grow up seeing other children the same race as them, other children with the
yes,
same hair texture as theirs. So
yes.
you want to be in a place where there will be a
There's
little bit of brown
diversity.
people. Yeah.
Yes. No, no, yeah, it totally makes sense. I think if I were to relocate to Canada, I want to go to Ontario as well. All right, Bertha, it was so nice having you. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you so much for taking your time. I wish you all the best with everything in Canada. All I can say is you're a strong woman. You are brave. I mean, not a lot of people would just, leave their glamorous life in South Africa and relocate to another country, thinking about the next generation. The reality is a lot of us don't even think about that. We think about the now. And I need to just commend you for, just thinking about your children and your children's children, their future. And I wish you all the best, B. And I love you so much and I miss you.
Oh, really?
I miss you, I miss you so much. I miss your hug.
Well, we are still waiting for that visit, girl. Are we still on?
Definitely. Of course, girl. What you saying? All right, guys, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Would you relocate to Canada? Would you relocate anywhere outside South Africa? Is that something that you want to do? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. And from me and Bertha, bye.
Bye.